The president made the rounds this weekend at a church in Battleground, Pennsylvania, joking slightly about the questions regarding his age and mental faculties.
I know I won't look like I'm 40 years old, but I've been around a little bit. It's heck turning 40. Well, all kidding aside, I've been doing this a long time. And I, honest to God, have never been more optimistic about America's future if we stick together.
One group sticking together, however, seems to be Democrats, still questioning Biden's stance after his dismal debate performance.
He should be mopping the floor with Donald Trump. Joe Biden is running against a criminal. It should not be even close, and there's only one reason it is close, and that's the president's age.
And the one-on-one interview with ABC's George Stephanopoulos didn't quiet the critics. At one point, Biden couldn't even remember if he watched his debate performance.
Did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
And he denied bad poll numbers, too.
Mr. President, I've never seen a president at 36% approval get reelected.
Well, I don't believe that's my approval rate. That's not what our polls show.
It all proved too much for staunch Democrats like former Obama advisor David Axelrod, who wrote an op-ed titled Biden's Defiant Delusion.
Some of it I found sad, but he seems not to be able to compute the fact that people have these questions about him.
Then news came out this weekend revealing White House logs showing President Biden's physician met with a Parkinson's disease specialist earlier this year. Still, Biden presses on, refusing to take an independent neurological test and release the results.
Look, I have a cognitive test every single day. Every day I have that test. Everything I do. Not only am I campaigning, but I'm running the world.
Leading to the question, what it would take for him to no longer run for a second term.
Look, if the Lord Almighty came down and said, Joe, get out of the race, I'd get out of the race. The Lord Almighty's not coming down.
I agree that the Lord Almighty is not going to come down, but if you are told reliably from your allies, from your friends and supporters in the Democratic Party, in the House and the Senate, that they're concerned you're going to lose the House and the Senate if you stay in, what will you do?
I'm not going to answer that question. It's not going to happen.
Congressional Democrats are increasingly seeing things a bit differently, with more calling on Biden to get out of the race. This weekend, on a private conference call, at least 4 senior House Democrats said the president should step aside, making the drumbeat louder and possibly unavoidable.
Well, CBN chief political analyst David Brody joins us from war. Let's talk about that drumbeat. How long does the president have to turn this around, and what can he do to make that happen?
Well, not long, Gordon. The convention comes up August 19th. They're having a virtual roll call for the convention. In other words, the roll call won't be on the floor. It'll be by Zoom, basically, in just a few weeks. So this is all going to hit. There's going to be the rubber's going to meet the road, is what I'm trying to say. Ultimately, look, here's the problem. Ultimately, is that Democrats wanted this election to be a referendum on Trump. It is now a referendum on Biden. That is the worst possible scenario. And as I mentioned in the piece, the drumbeat is getting louder, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. So then the question becomes, when does Biden finally leave and decide that no more as it relates to the campaign? I think it's just a matter of time, Gordon. I really do.
What do you make about this goodest job quote from that interview and the White House trying to change that? Is that just a long-standing thing that the White House tries to cover up for his mistakes?
Yeah, this has been going on for a long time. I actually Googled the word goodest to make sure, hey, that's not a word, is it? No, it's not a word. I just wanted to double check myself. And look, it's been a series of errors for Biden, not just in the interview. By the way, we didn't go through the litany of problems in the interview that he had, where he had dates that were incorrect. He called Mark Warner someone who was running for president who never did. There's a whole litany of things, and that's just going to get worse. The problem for Biden is every day he gets older, and every day the condition is going to worsen. And so there's a problem there. But look, in terms of what you were talking about here, listen to me, Gordon, it turns out actually that this has been going on for a very long time, right from the beginning of the administration. They have been covering for Biden. And, I don't use this term lightly, but there has been a cover-up going on. I don't think there's any question about that. Look, it's been sad to see, but now, after that debate performance, the whole world is watching and seeing it.
Well, let's talk about that cover-up. 2 years ago, I was on a Zoom call. It was out of London, and they had a former member of British intelligence talking. And she said definitively that they were aware that President Biden was in cognitive decline. And it just seems that everybody seems to be covering this and has been for some years, that if foreign intelligence is looking at his behavior and his speech patterns, and particularly his walking patterns, and saying he has cognitive impairment, why has it taken us until the debate performance to finally wake up to it and say, we have a very serious problem?
Well, Gordon, that's a great question. And the truth of the matter is that you have Joe Biden, who's been around D.C. for a very long time, not only well-connected, but has a lot of power and a lot of friends. And they were all in on it. They were all covering for him. Some of them were out of the loop, but not all of them. And so really, Democrats have no one to blame but themselves. And now they find themselves, as my dad likes to say, in a pickle. What are they going to do exactly? This could lead to an open convention, but that's probably a topic for another day. But I think ultimately the decision here rests with Joe Biden. He has got to relinquish control and take back the narrative. He has to figure out a way to get out of this with his head held high somehow, and I think that will probably be the discussion going forward.
Well, I agree it's up to Joe Biden right now, but at some point it's up to the people of the United States. So what are the poll numbers saying?
Well, the poll numbers are a bit of a mixed bag for Joe Biden. This is post-debate. He leads Trump, actually, in Michigan and Wisconsin. The problem is he's down 7 points in Pennsylvania, and he needs to win Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. He needs to win all three, and he's down bad in Pennsylvania. As for the other states, he's within the margin of error, but Trump is leading by far. So you have all of those problems. And as it relates to the potential of an open convention, let's remember, even though Joe Biden, a lot of people were saying Joe Biden has to make the decision, the truth of the matter is that delegates technically are pledged to Biden. However, there is an out for them. It does say in the DNC rules that they are to vote for that candidate in good conscience. Well, those three words, in good conscience, could mean a whole lot coming up if Biden decides to not let go.
Who's the likely replacement? A lot of people are talking about the vice president. Is she the one that's going to replace?
No doubt about it. I mean, I think it's Kamala Harris. If it's not going to be Biden, it'll be Kamala. I think the question then at that point and what to watch for is, will Biden give her the approval, the endorsement, if you will, in any sort of resignation from the campaign speech? We wait and see on that. And the reason is not only because she's the vice president, but also because she would have access to all of that campaign money right away.
Well, let's talk about, I guess, a deeper question. If he's under a cognitive impairment, should he not just resign from the campaign? But, I mean, he's talking about outrun the world. And if you're impaired, do you have the capacity to be president? Are we going to see a complete resignation?
Well, that is such a great question. It kind of brings up that 25th Amendment. I don't think Democrats will go there on the 25th Amendment. I think they'll get to Biden before that happens. But, I was talking to, how do I say this, a liberal friend of mine who I asked him about his opinion on Biden. He said that he not only needs to get out for running for the White House, but there's a liberal, remember, a liberal who loves Biden, also said, why is he running the country? He needs to resign as president as well. That's some of the scuttlebutt talk as well in D.C. for sure.
All right. Well, David, thanks for the insight. There's certainly going to be a very exciting political year. We're going to be calling everyone to pray for our country and pray for Joe Biden, even if you don't agree with his policies. The Bible's very specific to pray for those in authority. So we're calling people to pray for our nation. This is obviously a tumultuous time. The political campaigns seem to be bent on dividing us as a people and pitting us against each other instead of saying, how do we unify? America is the leader of the free world, and we believe in liberty. We believe in these things, and we believe that we should all be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We believe these things. Let's pray. Let's ask God to help us in our time of need, because we need him now.